No, this video is not clickbait. The Washington Commanders could be a very good team in 2024. Now I know what you're thinking. The Commanders being good and heck winning or even making the Super Bowl is insane and blasphemous, right? Right? Not exactly. Let's take a look at the Texans in 2022. 3-14. Awful team. They get a new head coach, they draft a QB, and boom, they're a playoff team. Even winning a game in the wildcard round. Or let's look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 4-11-1. Joe Burrow gets hurt. And the next year, they draft Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow's back, and they make it all the way to the Super Bowl and nearly win it. Still not convinced? Look at the 2016 Eagles, finishing 7-9, and all of a sudden, the next year in 2017, they go 13-3 and go to the Super Bowl and win it against Tom Brady, despite having their backup playing the entire game. So what I'm trying to say is, things change fast in the NFL. Teams go from bottom feeders to Super Bowl contenders within one season. And I'm going to show you how the Commanders could make the playoffs this year and how they could win the Super Bowl as well. First off, the Commanders have been on the right track as of late, finally getting rid of Dan Schneider, and this was the first big step for this football team. Next step for the Commanders was firing Ron Rivera. Ron was fine at the Commanders, but he ran his course. It was time to part ways with the seasoned head coach. Now the Commanders looked refreshed, and they started in by hiring former head coach and current defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Now this hire was split by fans, some liking it and some not liking it. Mainly the people who didn't like this hire were left with a sour taste in their mouths after his last coordinator game went with the Dallas Cowboys.
Back foot has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave racing toward.
But we can't judge Dan Quinn on just one game. He's a very good coordinator, and once again he coordinated the defense very good for Dallas this year. And as we know, Dan Quinn has been a head coach before, and his tenure with the Falcons was pretty good. So he is shown to be a competent head coach. So unlike the other coaches that turn these teams around fast and have them go on runs, like D'Amico Ryans or Zach Taylor or Doug Peterson, Dan Quinn has already had the experience as a head coach and is not a rookie head coach and has already had playoff success. Then they also hired Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. And I'm just thinking, Cliff Kingsbury, he's the most mid-head coach ever. Well, maybe he is. However, as an offensive coordinator, he will thrive in this Washington team. He'll have less stress on him from doing head coaching duties, just needs to work on the offense, and I think his reputation will go up after this year in Washington. So now we got a veteran head coach and a good OC stepping in to a good team. Wait, did I say good team? Yeah, I said good team. But how? They sucked last year. Well, let's look at their free agent signings. First off, the Commanders signed Marcus Mariota as a backup. A reliable backup is always good for any team, and the Commanders got theirs. Then they signed linebackers Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. Louvu is an underrated linebacker as is, and Bobby Wagner is still good. Don't be fooled by his age. Wagner can still play and can be a leader on that defense. Then they signed Dorrance Armstrong, who's a solid defensive end, and Dante Fowler, who's a good depth player. Then they brought in two good linemen in Tyler Biadasz and Nick Allegretti, who will help out that O-line tremendously. And they managed to grab Zach Ertz for emotional support and veteran knowledge. And of course, they brought in Austin Eckler. Now, Eckler is a good back. With him paired with Brian Robinson, will be a great running back duo. And of course, this team will likely be led by a rookie QB going by the name Drake May. Now, getting a rookie QB to start year one, going to the playoffs is hard. Now for them to go to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl in the same year, it seems impossible. You gotta think of it this way. If May comes out really good, that is a serious advantage for a rookie QB. The main reason why this is an advantage is if they come out good in the NFL, it's a serious problem for defenses they face because they have no NFL film on them, and it makes it so much harder to game plan. Look at C.J. Stroud this year. He rarely had any bad games. Herbert's first year was sensational. Dak Prescott's rookie year, he didn't struggle in a single game, I think. So if May comes out already confident, ready to go with a good wide receiver core, an improved O-line, a good running back duo, with Cliff Kingsbury make the play calls, this offense could be very good. And the defense could be very good as well. They got Louvu and Wagner as their linebackers, Dorrance Armstrong along Jonathan Allen and Jerron Payne is a good pass rush, and they still have their starting corner, Emmanuel Forbes, who could take a huge step in year two. So in all, this is a good team. Now I know what you're thinking as well. So what if they're better? They still got to win the division, which has the Cowboys and the Eagles, which are two teams who have made the playoffs 3 years in a row and are definitely better teams. But you gotta think of it this way. The Dallas Cowboys will go into the 2024 season with a much weaker team, a harder schedule, and a head coach that should have been fired. And the Eagles are also coming off a collapse at the end of the season, and they also have question marks surrounding their head coach. And the Giants, well, you know. All that put together, the Commanders could be the most sound team in this division, and they could win the division. And with winning the division, all bets are off, and anything could happen. They could go on a run in the postseason and manage to make the Super Bowl, and heck, even win it. And that's why I believe the Washington Commanders could win Super Bowl 59. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.